Hi everyone, and welcome to the silent yin yoga practice. If it's your first time here, my name is Katie. Here on this channel we focus a lot on yin yoga. So this video is designed for someone who is maybe already quite familiar with the yin yoga practice and poses. I'll be giving you minimal cues, just enough to help you to get into the pose. I will give you some suggestions for props or an alternative to the pose, and then I will leave you there in silence for 3 minutes per pose. Now, if you're not familiar with yin yoga and if you feel like you do need a little bit more guidance, then I have lots more yin yoga videos. I did mention that we'll be holding each pose for 3 minutes today, but remember that that is just a suggestion. If you need to come out of the pose earlier, please don't stay, especially if you're in extreme discomfort or any pain at all. Just come back, rest, and wait for the next pose. So with all that being said, I'm going to start to talk a little bit less, and we'll make our way into our first pose, which is child's pose. So you can bring your knees to your yoga mat. If your knees are sensitive, fold your mat so you have a bit more padding. Hips sit back onto the heels, and if they don't make it, that's okay. You can sit on a cushion or a yoga block. Knees can stay together or they can come wide apart. Forehead comes down to the yoga mat or onto your hands here. And if you're not using your hands, you can have them rest palms up next to your feet. An alternative to child's pose is to lie on your back, hugging your knees to your chest. It's time to transition to our next pose, which is Anahatasana. Hands reach towards the front of the mat. Then lift yourself up so you can step your knees in underneath your hips. Now the hips will stay above the knees as best you can, and just the chest and forehead come back down to the mat. If you need to make this pose a little bit less intense, or if you're feeling any tingling or numbness within your hands, take a bend into your elbows and bring your hands back closer to you. An alternative for this pose is Sphinx pose. To come out of the pose, you can start to sit your hips back onto your heels, finding child's pose with your knees together, bringing your hands back next to your feet. you can bring your fingertips back to the mat. Use a breath in to push yourself slowly back up, coming to find a comfortable way to sit just for a few breaths here. Making our way into our next pose, which is Swan pose. You can come onto all fours. Now bring your right knee in front of you, keeping your right foot flexed. Slide the back knee back as far as is comfortable. Keep your weight distributed equally between both of your hips, making sure you're not tilting over towards the right. And if you are, you can place a cushion or a pillow in underneath your right hip. Keep your weight in your hips now as you slide down onto your forearms, resting maybe your forehead onto your fists, onto a yoga block, or maybe onto the mat. As you hold Sleeping Swan, keep a little bit of activity within your feet, imagining that there's magnets in both of your feet and they're slowly pulling towards each other. Now it's time for us to slowly transition back up. If you do have a cushion underneath your right hip, you can remove it and then come to sit on your right hip. Transitioning into our next pose, which is shoelace pose. So we have two options here. The first option is to come into full shoelace by bringing our left foot all the way over to the right side of the hips. Our second option is half shoelace. So first you'll straighten out this front leg, which is your right leg, and then bring your left foot across. Either option is fine. You can sit on a cushion or yoga block here to make this pose a little bit more comfortable. Make sure you're not sitting on your feet. And then settling here for 3 minutes. An alternative here is to sit cross-legged on the mat. Staying in shoelace pose, we'll make our way into eagle arms by reaching the left arm out in front. Push the fingers away from you and swing your right arm underneath. First option is to hold opposite shoulders. Second option is to take a twist into your arms so your palms are facing each other. Wherever you are, start to gently lift your elbows up. Tuck your chin towards your chest. There's a little bit of opposing energy here. So gently try to press your elbows back to their correct side, respectively. It's time to release the pose, slowly unraveling the arms and legs. Lean back on your hands here, have your feet wide apart, and then slowly drop the knees from side to side. Just releasing our pose with some windshield wipers for 1 minute. And now we'll repeat Sleeping Swan on the opposite side. Coming back to all fours. Bringing your left knee in front, flexing your left foot, sliding your back knee back as far as you can. Coming down to your forearms and resting into Sleeping Swan. And now it's time for us to slowly transition, making our way to shoelace by sitting on the left hip. And you can either sit cross-legged again with the opposite foot in front this time, or find your half or full shoelace pose. Staying here for 1 minute, and then we'll incorporate eagle arms for the last 2 minutes. Stretch your right arm out in front of you, pushing the fingers away. Left arm comes in underneath, and come to find your version of eagle arms. Slowly lifting the elbows and dropping the chin. Let's slowly release the pose. Finding some windshield wipers. And once you feel satisfied that you have released any tension from your body, you can join me in a seat on your mat. And when you're there, close your eyes or relax your gaze. Spending 1 silent minute here, trying your best to focus on your breath and on your body. Whenever you're ready, you can start to open up your eyes again. We will officially end our practice here. If you want to stay a little bit longer, of course, I encourage you to do that. And I do have some more guided relaxation and meditation videos, which I'll link below if you want to spend some extra time on your mat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel. That really does support me in making more videos. And if you do want to support the channel, you can become a member by clicking the join button below this video. There's some exclusive members only content which I add to quite regularly, so check that out if you are interested in supporting me and gaining some access to more content. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, take care and goodbye.